Right. So we pick up from the selection stuff we did yesterday and then go into the other parts of the training. So yesterday we learned selections, how to make selections. As we go further, we will be making more of these selections so that we'll get more proficient in them. Okay, so the next item in Photoshop we want to deal with is let's learn how to resize or crop an image. Most times. So I want to bring in one image and then I want to resize it and then crop it. So let me see what's the size of this guy. 7360. Um, what's your size? 999. I'm bringing this to. Alright. So I have two images here. No. So I want to resize this guy or this girl. I want to resize her um, so that it's kind of a larger image. Originally, it's just what 999 by 667, 360 kilobytes, and this one is 7360 by 4912. This is almost an 8K picture. It's quite large, almost like 11.5 MB. This one is a very small picture, 999, the standard picture size. So what to resize? There's one software that used to do resizing very nicely. That is Microsoft Paint. Paint can resize pictures very well. Photoshop can also resize pictures. You just need to not go over the board in your resizing. Like this picture is 999. I won't want to go and resize it to be 9,000, 10,000 to make much of sense. So the reason why we resize pictures is pictures are pixel based, meaning they have a static size. And when we have pixel based, that is based on the resolution, they are created or made visible by small squares, little squares all around the area. Let me show this example still from here. There's images. I am okay. Now look at this picture. The dimensions is 184 by 274. So um, typically it's a small picture. So if I zoom into it or if I preview it, let's say I blow up this guy, this is the best size for preview size that this picture can be in at the moment. This TV is a 4K TV. So I'm previewing this picture in a 4K TV. That's why it's showing at that regular size. So if I zoom into this picture now, you start seeing some small distortions of, let's say, little squares around, like the picture is deforming. It's getting more wiggly or more blurry, or let's say the word getting more pixelated, no longer sharp. And that's how pixel-based objects work. They have a specific square size. That's all these little squares here. They have a specific size, and you can't stretch them beyond that size. You can't squeeze it either. It has to be that size. So when I'm talking about raster images are pixel-based images that have a specific size which you can't stretch or contract. So if I want to enlarge this image so that I can zoom in, I have to also take into consideration the pixel sizes as well to make it extremely large or enable me to be able to um, view the picture even at a zoomed rate. Let me use an example of another picture. Let's say like that guy, this guy here. Okay. So this guy at preview rate is already filled up to my screen, right? So that means if I zoom in, you can see it's still sharp. Okay? It's still sharp because based on the dimensions of the picture, it's 7,360 by 4,912. So there are a lot of pixels. So when I zoom in, there's enough room to stretch. Like I said, this screen is 4K. The dimensions of this picture is 7K by 4K. So it's large enough. It can accommodate it. So when I zoom in, it's still crisp, it's still sharp. It's not broken like the previous one. It's still sharp. I can still see fine details on him, just as if I was looking at it from here. So it's a very sharp picture. So this is a large picture because and it remains sharp, not because it was taken with a better camera, but because of the amount of pixels involved in the resolution base. Okay, so this is 7,000 and this is 184. So this is the best this can get to. This one, it can expand more to fill up anywhere. So that's one of the things about users. So sometimes when you are downloading pictures online, the reason I downloaded these pictures so that I could use them for explain purposes to show that if you use a smaller picture, it won't give you the kind of edit you're looking for, but use a larger picture, which will help in your editing process. So, but you, when you're downloading pictures online to work with, any picture that is less than 1002 is small. So don't download it in any dimension, either by width or by height. If it's less than 1002, don't go. Preferably, you can brief it up to 1005 so that no matter what you do, it works well. The thing about editing on pictures that are small size or are not very high quality is it could make that edit you're doing look bad because there's not enough room for the software to do what it needs to do. So let's now I have this picture that is actually smaller than this one because of its size. Photoshop just brought them in based on their sizing. So this one is smaller. I can come under image here and I have image size and canvas size. So canvas size is the canvas, that is this white background to make it larger or smaller. It doesn't affect the images. Image size affects the image. So if I go into image size, for instance, the size of that image, this is a size per pixel. Or in fact, let me do it like, let me bring this image as a singular file so I will see it better. Okay. So image size. So this is the size of the image. It's 8.46 by 5.65. This is in centimeters. In pixels, this is the interpretation, 999 pixels by 667, which is what we have when I hover over the picture there, 999 by 667. Okay. So let's say for some reason, let me switch this to pixels so it will be easier. I want to make it a larger picture. Let me just add one in front of the 9 to make it 1999. So you see it makes the picture larger. So by adding that one, I've increased the size of the picture. Okay. Is check check the top right or the top left of your um, control panel. You see something that says show controls, or you can do control T. Mm, mm. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you did no. This one control transit or do control T. Not D. So that shows the it shows the if you do control T, there is it's like clicking on this thing. It shows the areas. Always check for that. Yeah. Oh, yep. Now, and when you finish increasing the width and the height, you also beef up the resolution. The resolution will add more pixels per inch. So right now, 300 is actually a good resolution, or you can go higher. So the reason why I said we don't go overboard is the software can only do as much as it can, but not so much that it's crazy. So you can see of the resolution. You know, I don't know of any reasonable highest, but can just keep going higher. When you increase the resolution, notice that even the width increases. So, so let's say, like I said, 300 is quite good, quite good. Then resample, we want it automatic, or you can do preserve details and all these other um, options you have. So if you do preserve details, you can either increase the noise or, I mean, reduce the noise. That is, notice the, what do they call it? The roughness of her face, right? Matching with this roughness here. Good. So if you wanted to make the picture smooth, like what some um, photography studios do, is they remove noise so that the face will look like powder, very smooth, spotless, like that. But in reality, when you're working on images, don't ever let it look too smooth. Nobody is that smooth in real life. So this is for preserved details. This is by cubic. This is by cubic sharper for reduction, and there are different setups you can do. Right. I like leaving it at automatic. Let Photoshop decide which one is best for me. Okay. So, but preserve details 2.0 is fine. So if we click OK, now it calculates and makes the picture larger. And you can see as it's gotten larger, it's not pixelated. It's still sharp. So that's one way of increasing your image size. Well, like I said, softwares are softwares. You know, is the screen. If you look here, it's different. That's why I'm looking and looking here because the results I'm getting on this other screen is different from the ones on this screen. That still comes boils to resolution. This guy is 4K and very high retina screen. This one is normal display. Can never be. You can never depend. I might do something and it looks so good here, and I check here, it looks terrible. So, so that's the concept. All right. So now with that, you can beef up the picture, make it look uh, still sharp. You can save a copy of it if you like. So, like you could do save as and save it as a JPEG file, maybe a different file. Let me give it a different name because large. So let me save this at a very large baseline. So let me see. Let me do this one. Maximum. So here I have the two pictures, right? So this is the first one. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the second one. So you notice they are still both very clear. Yeah, so still both very clear. So the only difference you notice that this one, when I expanded it, is large, filled my screen. This one, when I expanded it, it didn't really fill my screen. It's still 999 by 67. So my screen is larger than that. But this one, when I expanded it, filled the screen here. But it's still maintaining the same kind of clarity. So that's what happens when you increase the size of an image. Sometimes some people increase size and forget to increase the resolution. If you don't increase the resolution, you've not added more squares, so it will still break. But increasing the resolution is like adding more squares into it. That's how we'll it change image sizing, right? So that it maintains all the detailing that was there before. Same thing to reduce size of an image. So like this guy's image, this guy that we used, this picture is actually big. So if I go same way, image size is 7360 by 4912. Okay, and I want to reduce him to hundreds of it bad. Let me just do two something. So let me just write two here or four, the three, right? And I keep preserve details in. So I just want to reduce him just a little bit. Resolution has gone dropped down to 240. Okay, because I'm getting smaller. So maybe I may not want to put in so much resolution. Yeah. When you increase the resolution now, it's going to increase the size as well. So that's you. So increasing the resolution will increase the size. Mhm. So that's why uh, I'm not doing this. So I'll just go at let's do 3 because the resolution by default was not even. Let me cancel and do it again. That will see it. The resolution was naturally on 240. Yes, so I just want to reduce the size at that 240. So and we get this. So you can use this, like now I'm not seeing the face to know whether it is still the same way. So I can just left click and drag here so that I can see the detailing. Like, okay, still detailed, right? So once I do that, it reduces the size of the image to this thing, but maintaining those details. So if I save this now, save as, I'm doing save as, so I don't overwrite the original. So then small, save. I'll still do maximum quality. So here now we have the large one, which is 7360. Size is 11.5 MB. This one is a small one. Size is now 3360 of 2.72 MB. So it has reduced the not just the quality, but the size of the file generally. And when I preview it, came up. So this is the first one, and is uh, original. Okay. So with the original, when I grow bigger, obviously fills my screen. But the next one, I grow bigger. Okay, 3000 still because my screen is actually 3000. It's in 4K. But you can see that at the small size, it's still looking as clear as the large size because of the preserved details thing is maintaining the same amount of pixels. At some point, it might even be sharper than this one because this one is 240. The pixels, the PPI is 240 at this size. This other one is now 240 at a smaller size. So that means it's packing a whole lot more squares in it, a lot more pixels. So invariably, it now is sharper than the larger one. So that's technically what it is. So there why while we're doing this, there are some situations where I don't know whether you've been you've had that experience. You are trying to upload a picture online. You say you upload your passport or upload a, a portrait of yourself. Maybe you open an account somewhere. Then you go there like the picture is too small, or you go yeah, the picture is too large. Your picture should be at least so amounts. So those kind of scenarios, you can just quickly do something like that and get picture of equal or better quality and put it there that will still match up to the size. So that's basically about image. If it is canvas, for instance, that you're increasing, let me use this one to do the canvas because I already have a canvas here. So I can go to canvas size, and from the when I made the selection, the default size of the canvas that I was working with is what I want to change right now. So I can say, all right, let me go and increase the waist. Let me add 2 here, and let me add 2 here. Okay, and let me go. Okay, so see is increases the canvas. The pictures are still the same size they were in when I brought them in, but I've increased the length and the width of the canvas where I want to draw with. So that's what canvas size is. It's just the canvas that is the drawing board or the background where you're going to do all your design. You're just increasing that size. Okay. If you no, if you what if you reduce no, if you increase the canvas size, your image is still the same way you want it. Okay, if you make it background, yes, the image is now a background. So so that background is like your canvas. All right, so like this one now, Rashi. So you go to canvas size. But so it's basically reading this as your background. So let's say 4 by, let me give this one at 2. So there's a tendency that you even give it a gap, this gap, because the image is there. The way uh, Photoshop and Illustrator, all those files work is that background, that canvas is not really, it doesn't really exist. That boundary there, that white boundary I saying, is like just a constraint. Okay, don't get beyond this thing. Because I can tend to, like now you can see white, right? I can tend to click here and turn off the white for the background as I make it trans. I didn't double click. I make it transparent. Yeah, yeah. Let me go to somebody that is more recent. So I can on my background here turn on my transparency. So I don't want to see the transparent. Let me see. Opacity color. Yes, click it now. Okay, okay. Okay, fill, sorry. The fill is still on white. So I put it on transparent so that you see that there's actually nothing here. It's just a constraint. Like I was talking about, so doing paper sizes, said use mobile, use desktop, you use paper, you use different kinds of paper sizes. So like if I do new, I choose mobile, I pick a mobile phone size, and it creates a mobile phone size. It doesn't change the quality of what I'm designing. It's just the constraint that okay, this thing I want to design for mobile design must enter inside this white spacing. And that's just it. So if for any reason I select like maybe this artboard and increase this guy, when I'm printing out, it will print like this. The software won't say, no, you chose mobile, we have to print mobile size. It will print what it's saying. Yeah. So that guy is just like a constraint, just allowing you to know where your boundaries are when you're designing. Because otherwise, people will do some very interesting things and you'll be wondering what happened. So, right. So we understand the image resizing and canvas resizing, right? The other one is cropping. Now, unfortunately, Photoshop has one kind of funny way of cropping things. Yeah, if I crop one thing to crop everything within itself. So like if I say I want to crop this guy now, I want to reduce, maybe cut off here and here. I have a cropping tool, this guy. So when I'm trying to crop now, it's you notice it's not highlighting this guy. It's highlighting my canvas. It wants to crop my canvas. Mm. If you crop now, whatever was cropped, it's going to crop. that side. So, so it's illustrator that you can crop very well. Because here now in our crop settings, we have the like different sizes for cropping. In case um, you have a specific size you want, maybe you did a canvas and oh I want 4 inches by this or 5 inches or 2 by 2 or something. So these are just lists to show. Then right here we have are we cropping by what is the necessary stuff? It's still based on this guy. So stuff. So now I can say okay let's do front image. So let's go front image and I crop. It still reduces this guy. It's not still because it's front image, it's cropping the image in front. It's just imagining that okay this was like a picture kind of thing, so it still makes that crop and cuts off anything that is not within his range. So it's the way crop works is not based on image per se, like you are trying to um, crop a particular layer. It's basically cropping everything else. So there are other stuffs. So these are how crops show. This rule of thirds, this golden spiral. You did, so you remember when we talked about the golden spiral, right? The golden ratio, Fibonacci sequence. So, so and it, 1.618, 7, no, 8, 1, something. So, so golden ratio, golden spiral, the golden ratio, and the stuff. So they basically, that's in case that is what you want to use as your cropping concept. It's just a guide. So it's not something you should do and when you have images in this. But what I do with crop rather is this. Um, let's say I bring in um, where's that picture now? Okay, this small picture now. Let me undo the crop. So I want to maybe do a situation where I have two of these pictures. So I have before and after kind of thing, and I want to create a wider canvas. Okay, so I can duplicate this layer first of all, so that because normally when you are cropping or expanding your canvas, it's working on the canvas, not the image itself. So let's say I can duplicate this guy, Control J to duplicate him, then go back and select the canvas, then do the crop. But now I'm not cutting, I'm expanding so that it gives more room. Okay. Now once I do that and accept, it just makes a larger canvas, which I can now drag this one and put so that I can do a before and after kind of effects stuff here. So I come in here, I can do, let's say, invert something, just those kind of stuff. So that's what's cropping. Cropping generally primarily works on the canvas. So if you are cropping and there are images inside, if you are reducing it, it will cut off anything within that space as well. So you want to only crop canvases. If it has to do with images, then instead of cropping, rather you create masks that will cut off those places and leave what you are working with. Okay, you grab that, right? You're done. Yeah, okay, you're good. Right. Okie dokie. So now let's do the thing, resizing and cropping and stuff, alignment. Let's see something else. Uh, let's let's start with seeing how we can edit an image. Let's see. All right, so that was my zero. Uh, Photoshop has a very sweet Control Z technique. Uh, let's say undo technique. I like that because it's the same. I don't think I've seen a software where undo is not Control Z. Control Z is just everywhere. Microsoft Word is Control Z. In 3ds, in 3D software is Control Z. 2D software is Control Z. Video editing software is Control Z. Audio editing, it's just like a standard. So most times, if I want to say undo, I will say Control Z it because everyone knows that. Okay, so Photoshop has a very nice undo technique or Control Z technique. It's called a history, and what it does, like now, I've done a lot of things on this image here, and okay, let's see, let me put it back where I started from. I've done a lot of things up to when I cropped it and made it wider, like this. I cut off some parts of the image and stuff like that. So I want to go back to a certain point in time, and probably I've done so many things, maybe like 50 things or 20 things or 10 things. I don't know how many things I have done, but I need to get back to a particular point in time. That is, pressing Control Z can be tiring. Can be frustrating because you're not exactly sure how many times you should Control Z to get to that place that you need to get to. So Photoshop has this option here, this history, that shows you everything you did since you opened the file. And it kind of does this Avenger kind of timeline thing. If I step back in time and change the future, the, the future that was there stops existing, another future is created. So, like, if I step back here, I was doing this when I cropped, right? This is when I changed the layer order. This is when I replaced the background with the transparency and this one. This is when I was moving the objects. This is when I changed the canvas size. Okay, and when I was moving every other thing else. So everything I'm doing, you can see the stepwise method. So if in this layer order now, this section stuff, I now go and do something now. I maybe select this lady and move her again. Automatically, every other history that existed disappears. So right now, if I click on her and move her, all that history disappears because now I've created a new path for a different future. So I've changed the timeline. And this is not like Avengers that say, well, let's get back to the time from a timeline. Let's go back and drop the stones in the time their timelines. You guys can be stupid. Man. If you could go back in time, what would you do? And which year will you go back to? 1940. That's before the World War. Or during. What am I gonna say? How do you want to go? Yeah. You may not survive it. Yeah. Okay. You know that you're just gonna hang up here in the middle where they're about to drop the bomb. Okay. All right. So the history allows you quickly jump to a specific point in time where you wanted to do something, and then you can just continue again from there. The only thing that it will erase the future you had created before and create a new timeline for you. So, like I said, just like time travel thing that they do in Marvel movies stuff. Okay, so I want to right talk about some very simple editing. Um, okay. Mm, mm. No, 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 it has changed once you move again. So like now, I moved, right? I've already moved this guy or this girl. So you do Control Z. It's just going to be coming from wherever I stopped. Now that future is gone. It's a new lifetime now, so you can't do that. So let me go back to before I brought in these two guys. So I'll go back to new when I just created the canvas. Okay. So I think I'll bring in two pictures so we can see what they look like. I'll bring in one picture and double it up. Picture of one of my friends, model, in one of my lifetimes when I was a model. Thank God I'm no more a model. I didn't like that life. You can't eat what you want to eat. As you can't, you have to have a certain kind of body. You have to use this. You'll be wearing pants and walking on it the wrong way. And, shy person like me. Okay, so I want to do or talk about a little bit about image uh, correction. So, and there is a difference. Ah, letting blow this time. Yeah. Now this go be this Suya people. Maybe they put some. I be one a transformer. Hmm. They stop that joke. Oh. Remember this one that has blown like 3 times. Okay, so there are two terminologies that we use in photo editing, and one is called photo correction. The other one is called photo manipulation. They don't mean the same thing, although they do things that look like if they are the same, but they're not the same. They don't mean the same thing. Um, Photo correction is like, okay, you have a photograph, there are some errors in the photo, and you are now trying to fix up those errors by maybe doing some color adjustments or saturation or um, sharpness. Kind of maybe it's too blurry, you're trying to blur it, unblur it, and stuff like that. So the alternate of that is photo manipulation. Photo manipulation now, I'm not correcting anything. I'm actually altering the picture, changing a whole lot of things in the picture. The person is wearing a red shirt, I change it to him wearing a blue shirt, a green shirt, or um, there's a scar on the person's face. I now remove the scar so that it looks like he's careless, or remove his hair, make him look bald, or carry his head and put it somebody's face. Those are most photo manipulations. I'm manipulating guys, I'm really altering the picture. But correction is I'm just, this is not sharp enough, and I'm making it sharper. So For photo manipulation, it cannot be done on a smart object, on a smart layer, basically. It must be done on a raster layer, that's a base layer. So like these two layers now, the two of them, because I placed them in here, they are smart layers. They cannot uh, do photo manipulation. At the same time, there are some corrections that might not work, or filters that might not work on them because they are smart. They need to actually alter the original image. But the best I can do here is just a few photo corrections. So I want to do uh, photo correction from two distinct areas in Photoshop. Photoshop makes it easy so that you can use choice preference. We have a photo correction section under image. This place that has adjustments here. It's one place to do correction. The other one is under filter. Then we have camera raw. Okay, so don't be scared that they are not highlighted. I've not selected any layer. If there's no layer selected, Photoshop will not highlight up some things. And that's why normally before you do anything, make sure it is the layer you want to do the effect on that is highlighted here in your layers panel. So like for this one now, I want to work on this first one. Let me do under image. So I have some basic ones here like auto tone, auto contrast, auto color. What that does is Photoshop will just by itself determine what is the best correction it should do automatically. Yeah? Okay. Okay. So under image, we have some, like I said, we have some basic ones here. So like this auto Photoshop just like, okay, let me use my AI skills and try to fix stuff up. So like if you click auto color like this, it will just try to fix some colors, but it might not really get what you want. Okay, so don't do that. Hey, I think I missed a step, so let me see that step. Let me say this step before I actually continue. Before you correct a picture or before you manipulate a picture, let me start from correcting since we're correcting first. You have to figure out what is it that you're correcting. What is wrong with the picture? So like looking at this girl's picture, what is wrong with this picture? Not with the way the picture is taken. Because most when I say what's wrong with the picture, I say she's putting camera in her mouth. I say, no. What is wrong with the picture? Like imagine you went to a studio and snapped and he said he's so what do you think is wrong with the picture looking at this picture? Because that was what will help us know okay what we are supposed to correct. If you think it's okay, then there's nothing to correct. You just move to the next picture. But I know there's something wrong with this picture. First thing is, and I was there when they snapped this picture. So there are things I'm seeing. I know that I was not there, so I already know what the problem is. But what is wrong? Looking at this picture now, how does the picture look to you? Let me put it that way. Does it look good? Does it look sharp? Does it look color? Does it look clear? Does it look what? What's what do you think is the problem? My car just passed. What will deliver me from Ranga Jeep? Hmm? No idea. Need to find something wrong so I will know what we are correcting. If not me, even myself, I won't know what to correct. I don't know. I did not from her pose. Of the picture itself. The picture itself. Like looking at the picture. There's how you just look at a picture and like, something is wrong. This picture get as it look. Okay, let me help out. This is your first time, but this the a key factor for photo editors. You must be able to identify what you want to edit first. Otherwise, you're just gonna be doing the one they not send you. So basically, the picture is bland. It's it's not sporty. It doesn't have that bump. Everything looks gray, looks desaturated. It looks like too much desaturation was applied on the picture. So she's looking gray, her hair is looking gray, her skin is looking gray, she's just pale generally. Then the jeans that is supposed to be a blue jeans, like this guy's Edmond's jean, but it's looking gray. Every just like a grayed out picture can effect. So that's the primary problem of the picture. Then the secondary problem, apart from the gray part, is the exposure levels. It's not that it's too bright or it's too dark, but uh, there's almost zero presence of shadows because the shadows are actually bright as well. So it has issues with levels and also has issues with exposure. It has issues with color. So now, if I want to now correct the picture, I already have what I want to correct. I need to get the colors back. I need to correct the levels of the picture, the levels and the exposure. So I come in here under image, adjustments. I have some setup here. These bottom ones are not highlighted because they have to manipulate the picture, even though they are under photo correction. But because these are smart layers, they will not be on, they will be uh, grayed out. So, but these guys are in groups. There's this line separating them. The first group works on exposure levels, that is shadows, highlights, midtones, contrast, all those stuff. Everything here works on that. So if I want to play around with her levels, or it's too bright, it's too dark, or there's no shadows, not enough midtones, that is where I want to go. One of those four places. The second place is this, that is the second group. Now works on, I'm having issues with color. That is the group I want to go to, the second group. Everything in that group works with colors. Some work with colors that are derived directly from the picture, others work with colors that are coming from outside the picture. But primarily, I want to work with colors that are, I'm doing correction. So I need to get the original colors that were in these pictures. So I need to correct it. So I will still come to this section. This one has to do with the opposite of the second one. So working with the opposite of the second one. It's still with colors as well, but it's kind of the opposite. Basically, it uses a threshold that employs the use of strokes and um, dark um, dark things to recalibrate what a color is doing. Like, okay, let's take for instance now that one that is invert. What if I click on it, just like we did with that guy's picture, it flips the colors. So like on the color wheel, if you look at the color wheel, what color you have here, the opposite of that color. So if there was red here, by the time I invert it, the red will become this other color that is on this side, and the same way. So just like we did with this guy, this brown is flipped. to get to this white. So that is like black and white. Then this shade flip to become this shade. This blue flip to become this flip to become this. So this it's if you check in the color wheel what color this is, you'll see that this other color now is the direct opposite of that color in that color. So that's what the vert does. Okay, so and like posterize is it carries the colors but makes it look like you painted it with strokes instead. So it makes it look like a painting more of a treasure and blah blah. Then this one just works on the highlights and the toning, general toning, just like this auto tone thing that it works on. So first, let me deal with levels. So let's play with levels. Uh, Said the thing is looking too bland, like the shadows are actually looking whitish. So I want to play with levels. I like using levels. The other ones are still good, but levels allow me work on highlights, shadows, and midtones. So I'm using levels for that. It's gonna rain. The rain should calm now. All right. So I want to play around with the shadows first. So I'm going to, this is shadows, this is midtones, this is highlights, this slides here. So moving the shadows a little bit, start making the darkness of the hair come back and the darkness around the lenses like this start coming back. Don't move too much. If you move too much, it will become another problem. So I just move to get a dark value. Um, at this point, it's your eye that will tell you whether it's okay. But you were moving the midtones, you didn't move the shadow. You didn't move the shadow. So no, move the shadows first before the midtones. That's why I started with the shadows first. So move with the shadows. So when I get a level, I can now try the midtones. Now, the midtones will reduce the midtones, not just on her, but around her. The bottom line is do not do it to a point that you start losing the detailing on the hair. At least still maintain, you can still see some detail in the hair. If you get it too dark, you won't see details in the hair. It's not going to be nice. So, but we need it to get dark, but not too dark that we start losing off on some detail. Then the highlights. If, for instance, you get so dark, you can push up some highlights, but it's not going to help with the shadows. Okay, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. So try not to get too dark, but dark enough that it brings out the contrast in her hair and the camera, every stuff like that. Okay. Now, what this bottom side does is how dark is the dark or how bright is the bright. So sliding this one now, let's say I added, let me just add some highlights. Now, let's say I just added some highlights and it's looking very white, right? I can reduce how white the white is from here so that it's not like it's overly white everywhere. Stuff like that. So I can reduce that one. Okay, so I'll just leave it the way it was. I can reduce how dark the dark is a little so that I can add a little bit more of it because I want to maintain some frequency there. All right, so with this, I think I'm okay to go and click OK. So already we see the differences with the two pictures. This one is already becoming to look more, um, there's more drama in this one than in this one. This one's not as pale as this. Next thing I discovered was the colors. It's still looking saturated. So I need to go and use colors. So I come here. Now, of all these colors, vibrance is a setting that brings out the original color of that image. So it walks through the saturation and extracts the original color. It doesn't add color, but brings out the real color. The hue and saturation adds color by changing the value of different colors along the color wheel. The color balances color. Okay, there's too much yellow, so you can now remove the yellow from the other colors and stuff like that. But vibrance is the best to bring out the actual color from this image. So I'm going to use vibrance. Yep. Let's see. Um, right, click out. Let me see what. Go to image. Let me see. Go to mode. Onto the mode. No mode. Let's see. How do you go? Format adjustments. There's nothing, and there's nothing you clicked. Something is not happening well. Let's step back. Go back to history. Let's step back to move. Yeah, yeah, that one. Okay. So let's adjust it again. Yeah, vibrance is okay. Something is actually wrong with the file. Okay, remove come out of this. Close this file and open it. Open a new file again. No, don't save it. Just close it. No. Okay, so create new, do file new, another new defaults. You can use defaults. I think this one is a custom paper. No, it won't come. You've not accepted the change for the first one. It's a custom paper. It's a custom paper. Go, yeah, go to file, new, choose default, great. Yeah, so, we should have it there, right? So that paper, it's like that paper that was there was not for photo editing. All right. So vibrance, we have vibrance and saturation. So this picture is really desaturated, so you can take your vibrance up to 100%. 100%. Then you see things. So you see it, right? Saturation is how much of it is applied. So don't add saturation, but she will look like she really did. She went sun tanning and it's on. the sun sunned her, but vibrance can take it up to 100. That's just because the image is very saturated. Not every image you should take vibrance 100. There are some images that just 10% vibrance is enough. It just depends on the image that you are working on. So I think this is one scenario on when working in Photoshop, all this image correction and this where there is no settings that will say, oh, set this to 90, this to 76, this to this. That can only work on a particular kind of image. And like how we are saying now, it might work perfect on my own screen, but not on your own screen. So most of the things are set up for color correction and photo correction and this depends on your own eyes. So beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So how is it fine enough for you? That's when you know like okay, I've done the correct thing. So we click OK and that's fine. So you can already see the differences between the two of them. Okay. So that is correction, auto correction. I've just corrected this image. I used the adjustment section of the site and just levels and vibrance alone. I can pick others and work more on the picture, but just this one alone is fine already. Okay, so I can say the next one is that's one we'll cover for today because I want you to go and play around with some pictures. At least you guys have enough pictures. Look for some pictures, figure out if there's an issue, try and figure out how to solve that problem. So now I want to use another section. I don't want to use this image adjustment. I want to use another section to try and achieve something similar with this girl on this other layer. So I'm going to filter and I want to use camera raw. Camera raw filter was initially an external plugin which imitates the raw data of a HD camera, or a full camera. When you just take a camera and snap somebody, or with all those full HD cameras, they have a kind of setting inside them. So camera raw filter kind of imitates those settings for you to manually do it on an image so that it looks as if you took it from that camera. So you can make those settings here. So if you click camera raw filter, if it's the first time you are starting, you'll see a notice that will tell you welcome to camera raw, whatever, whatever. You just look for the button and click get started. You should have this dialog window open. Okay, so let me know when you are open. It's open, right? It's not open. Or did you, that get started thing is not. No, you're on the wrong picture. Mm. See, you've already done this picture now. That is the level that is. Mm. Just to get started, just cancel. This is the layer you're here. Go to filter, camera, over here. All right. Okay. So with this, I can. Go ahead and flood. With this, I can do um, before and after so that I see what I'm doing because now it has opened somewhere else for me. I can't see the original file. So to do before and after, you click this icon here, this place here. That it shows you a before and an after. Then by default, you are on the zoom tool. That is that search. But you can zoom in and so that you can view your object. You can zoom in. Then you can use your hand tool here to move it this way, just so that you are able to see what you are doing. So these are tools. Is a sampler. This is a grid. Just like want to put a grid to watch. These are some distortion of effects and some other kinds of effects here, like erasers and stuff. Red eye tool. Then this is the most important part. This place that has uh, all this on the. We have light, color, effect, curve, color mixer, color grading, detail, optics, lens blur, and calibration. These things are settings that actually exist inside the camera when you are setting up a camera for production. So now the software is giving you the opportunity to set it over a picture that's already been taken. So whatever we do, we will see it here. All right, so let me start with the lights and the color. In previous versions, the two of them are under a section called basic. Then the other ones are under a section called creative. Okay, so lights, we obviously had issue with light before, right? So we want to work with shadows and contrast. So you can increase your contrast level. So you can see what you are working on is the one on your right. Increase your contrast level, your blacks and your shadows. Taking them backwards, make it darker. Black and shadows. Taking them backward, make it darker. Taking them forward makes it brighter. So then you can add some highlights, just very few or very small highlights. Now, whites and highlights are not necessarily the same thing. Whites and highlights are not necessarily the same thing. White basically is white. Generally, anything whitish on the screen will be whiter. The highlights are anything bright, so it might not be white. It's just got to be bright. So generally, so you don't want to put too much of that. You just want to make sure we can get that same darkness of the hair, okay, with a little bit of detailing there. Okay, and then right. So when I want to work with the exposure, maybe I should reduce my contrast a little bit. Okay, then I now want to work on color. So we have vibrance there already. So you can add your vibrance to bring out the color. Now notice in camera raw, if I go to complete 100, I start having over coloring on her. So that means I won't even need to get to 100 in this section here. So I will stop somewhere around 90 or 88 just to give her that strong notion. It has locked, don't worry. Yeah, okay. So what temperature is if I take it to the right, it will make this picture more yellow. If I take it to the right, to the left, to make it more blue. So if it's a little bit more yellow, you can take it a little bit to the left to make it more blue. So it's not as yellow. Okay. Now there's one thing that is here that is not in those other guys under effects here. very nice stuff. This clarity and texture. Now, let me show you what they do in photo studios that makes you look at a girl on Instagram and like, ah, this girl is like chewing gum. When you now see her, she looks like sandpaper. So this texture now, you can take it completely down, clean her up, so polish like. Sometimes you can even bring the clarity, follow and down. Then you see her looking so smooth and spotted like a Korean girl. And the girl was saying Edmund friend request, I don't know even think that's correct. Okay, don't worry. So, but like I said, when you are working on pictures, there's nothing like perfect smooth. So you can increase the clarity to bring up that camera dryness of the digital camera. Okay, and then you can reduce small texture, but to just use that clarity to bring up the digital dryness. Okay. So I can stop here with this one and say, okay, I like this call out. If I want to make any more adjustments, I can still go and make some adjustments. But with my clarity, it makes it very clear, very sharp. It spells out all the edges around the image so that it looks more like, yeah, I use a digital camera to snap it. So there are other things inside there, but this one I'll just stop with this one for now because already I can see very clear differences between even looking at the camera. There is very big difference in the two of them. So we just click OK, and then we have the two of them side by side. So the two of them can work effectively, but Camera Raw has more options for correction. So that's why even with if I tried the similar settings like this one, I use vibrance of 100, but in Camera Raw using vibrance of 100 was too much. I had to reduce it. So, but even with the reduction of everything, it's still looking better than this one. So Camera Raw gives us more options because you're like working on the lens of it through a lens of a camera with some more setup. So let me do this in a digital. This is before all of them. This is after. Okay. So this is what is called photo correction. And like I said, there's no settings like default setup, how many percentage or how much percentage you should use of anyone. Is primarily based on what you are seeing and what you want to achieve at that moment. So that's photo correction. So over the weekend, or over the week till our next class on Monday, play around with those folders. There are a lot of images there. There are some that have issues, there are some that don't. Play with the selection methods again. Play with the color correction methods. Just get a hang of it. I want you to see how working on different images can create a different setup for you. Because like now, if you carried, um, let me take one last image. Let's say I carry this image and put it here, and I want to work on her now. Her issues are not the same issues with my girl here. So if I try to do, let's say, let me just imagine doing the same settings I did for that my girl here. So I brought this one down, put this one here, and left this okay. And then I went in here, I said, okay, because there's a setup, and I'll try to make everything the same adjustment. So I do 100% and click OK. I'm already having too much of everything because it's not the same setup of camera. It might look similar, but it's not really the same setup. So that's why you want to be sure of any picture you're doing and play around with them basically by your own discretion. Okay. So happy playing. We'll see